Hi everybody, this is Mr. Lu. Today I want to talk about the possibility of exploring a retirement in Malaysia. Now, in the recent few months, there's a lot of people who wrote to me and asking me about how to buy a house, how to find a good agent, a good lawyer in Malaysia, and asking me about sharing my experience in buying a house in Malaysia, blah blah blah. And I actually think that everybody have trivialized one topic or have forgotten or ignore one topic. How are you going to stay in Malaysia without a visa? Okay. Now, for Singaporeans, we take it for granted. We just go into Malaysia and come back as if literally Malaysia is like your second home. No, you actually need a visa. And a visa is a kind of complicated, when you want to talk about long-term stay. So before I go further, if this is a topic that you are possibly interested in, please hit subscribe and like. I'll be talking more about giving you alternatives to the mainstream finance. And today we're really going to talk about a Malaysian retirement, which Mr. Lu has already taken a big step forward by buying a Malaysian house in Austin Heights in Johor Bahru. Now, we're not talking about my house today. We're talking about Malaysian visa. Now, a lot of you think that that Malaysian visa simply means you just show your passport and go to a Malaysian custom. That's not a visa. A visa is required when you want to stay in a place for extended period of time. So the most common visa in Malaysia is the MM2H visa. And while I'm going to start talking about it, I'm going to tell you that a lot of you will find it actually Malaysian MM2H visa is actually very restrictive, and you are going to find a lot of problems with it. And I'll give you an alternative to the MM2H visa, and that will be towards the second half of my video. And that's a big discovery because I only discovered this recently. Let's talk about the MM2H program, right? The MM2H program basically provide you a program that you can stay in Malaysia for a period of 10 years, right? And with it's a 10-year visit pass with multiple entries, okay? And with this, you could go in and out Malaysia and stay in Malaysia quite freely. However, there are a lot of restrictions, right? So with this MM2H visa, you could actually bring in your children and family as dependent as well, as long as they are 21 years old or younger, okay? They're allowed to have education in Malaysia, but once they cross 21 years old and planning to have a tertiary education in Malaysia, then the MM2H visa will have been terminated, and the students have to change to a student visa. But anyway, that's not the big thing that I found out, okay? This is the big thing I found out, okay? Anybody who wants an MM2H visa must have a minimum liquid asset of 1.5 million ringgit. Okay, 1.5 million ringgit is probably about 500,000 Sing. Okay, and minimum offshore income of 40,000 ringgit, which is probably about 13,000 Sing or so, and must have a fixed deposit in Malaysia which contains at least 1 million ringgit. So you must put in a 1 million ringgit fixed deposit in Malaysia, okay? Those are 50 years old and above. Those requirements still stay. You need to have a minimum liquid asset. That means cash of $500,000 or more. And offshore income of $40,000 or more. And a fixed deposit, with a Malaysian bank containing 1 million. And for retirees, you need to prove that you're receiving government pension of more than 10,000 ringgit a month. Okay, for retirees, you need to prove that you're receiving pension from government 10,000 ringgit per month. That's 3,000 Sing, right? Now that's kind of difficult, right, from Singapore government, because then you gotta show your CPF statements and all this. I don't quite understand how this works, but the CPF Life, I think quite difficult to get $3,000 Sing. So you have to combine that with your ability to withdraw from your CPF and things like that. So that could be some complication there, okay? But that's not the biggest complication. The biggest complication, in my opinion, okay, in my opinion, at least for myself, is that there is a requirement to stay in Malaysia for 90 days a year, okay, 90 days a year. And for people like me, how to do it, I stay in Europe 90% of my time, so or in Korea, right? So that's kind of difficult, I apply the visa, I cannot fulfill the requirement of visa. The second thing is that under the MM2H visa, you are not allowed, you're not allowed to be involved in day-to-day running of a business. Not with that visa. You are allowed to set up private company in Malaysia, but you're not allowed to use that visa for the day-to-day running. You need a working visa for that. So that's really not a working visa. So it's really more like a staying and retirement visa. And with that visa, you are actually not allowed to work or employ in Malaysia. Okay, you are supposed to work in overseas. And it's kind of contradictory, right? You're supposed to work overseas, okay, so you can generate overseas income, but yet you're supposed to stay in Malaysia for 90 days. So it's a contradictory visa, and that's why this is not quite easy to achieve. So even you have the money, you have all these funny restrictions. That's quite complicated. Yeah. So there is a MM2H Sarawak program, which is somewhat easier, but I'm gonna not talk about that, and I want to go straight to the other program. Now, all the MM2H program is actually quite complicated because you don't just need to put up money. You actually got to stay there. You cannot work. You have all of restrictions and things like that. Not quite suitable for me in my understanding. Oh, by the way, for those people who have got potentially some criminal record, that's also a problem, right? And I used to think that I gave a talk before in one of those halfway houses, and I told them that if you find that you have your problem staying in Singapore because of expensive retirement, you might want to consider staying in Malaysia. Then I found that you need to produce a certificate of good conduct. That's going to be a problem for some of these halfway houses. I mean, this is just a side track, because you actually need a certificate of good conduct as well. So anyway, putting that topic aside, there is another interesting program called the MYPVIP. Okay, so it's a Malaysian Premium Visa program. That's a relatively new program from 2022. This is a ATAS. This is a high-end visa program. Okay, that allow foreigners to stay for 20 years. 20 years with an extension option for another 20 years. So it's 20 plus 20 is 40 years. I'm now 50, going 51. 20 plus 20 is 90. I think it's almost enough for me. Okay, I'm not sure whether I can live to beyond 90. Okay, so this program of a PVIP program, premium visa program. Okay, it's somewhat different from the Malaysia, my second home, because with this visa, you don't need to stay 90 days. Okay, a year. There's no restriction. Okay, there's no restrictions at all. You could come in and out and stay there for stay in Malaysia for 10 days, and that's perfectly okay. Or you want to stay for 365 days, it's okay as well. And there is no age restriction for. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that in MM2H there's in order to apply for Malaysia, my second home, you need to be 35 years and above. But the PVIP program, you don't need age requirement. In both program, just like the MM2H visa, the PVIP program, you need to earn at least 40,000 ringgit a month. Okay, and in the Malaysia, my second home, you need to prove that you got $1.5 million liquid asset. In the case of PVIP, you don't need to prove anything, right? You can have zero liquid asset. You could still apply for this visa. So it's actually a lot more flexible, right? For me, I have got money stashed in this place, that place, this place, that place. But liquid asset, I don't know what's the definition of liquid asset. I hope stocks is liquid asset, then I'll probably fulfill it. But if stocks are not considered liquid asset, you need cold hard cash liquid asset, $500,000. Some of us will find it difficult to prove, that we got $1.5 million ringgit, right? So the other one is you need to put in 1 million ringgit as a fixed deposit in Malaysia. That is still applicable, just as the MM2H. You also need that and PVIP. And in this visa, you can conduct business, seek employment, and enroll in education. Anything is almost like a PR program. You can do anything you want there, right? It's a very good visa. And you could buy properties and things like that. This part in some website I saw that once you have the PVIP program, you can buy properties in Malaysia as if you are a local. But in another website, I saw that you still need to fulfill the foreigner minimum purchase price. But for landed house is 1 million ringgit, for condo is $500,000. So this one, I'm not too sure. There's some website that tells either one of them. But it doesn't matter because I already bought one way. I don't intend to buy another one. And this is a 20-year program. I'm sorry, just now, the Malaysia, my second home, is a 5-year program. Okay, not 10 years. Okay, it's a 5-year program. So this is I think a very interesting program right now. Okay, so if it's so good, why aren't people all rushing in to apply, right? Well, there's one big catch, huge catch. Okay, guess what is it? In this PVIP program, you need a 200,000 ringgit as a fee. Okay, as a fee, 200,000 ringgit. Okay, as a participation fee. And for each dependent, you need 100,000 ringgit. Now, while you say, I scream murder and things like that, 200,000 ringgit is about, actually, how much is 200,000 ringgit? Let me see, okay? 200,000 ringgit, okay, 200,000 ringgit, divide by 3.42 or something like that. Okay, it's about 58,000, 60,000 Sing dollar, okay? Now, if you amortize that over 20 years, okay, if you divide that by 20 years, okay, and then divide by 12 months, it's about $200 Sing a month. So, in that sense, it's not that big a deal if you amortize it over, 20 years. And then I don't know whether there's extendable by 20 years, you still need to pay another 200,000. So, you could amortize it over 40 years instead, then it's almost nothing. But upfront, you need to come up with $200,000. So that's the big catch. I almost think that this might be, a very interesting way of the Malaysian government in raising revenues. Okay, but I would say that the PVIP program is more superior to MM2H because it is a lot more flexibility. And if I were to apply for a visa, which at this juncture I'm still thinking, I would consider this, right? Now, for those people who are planning for a retirement, really want to escape, be an cost of living refugee in Malaysia, which I'm now considering myself maybe at one point in time going to be one of them. You need to have a visa, and you need to consider visa such as this. Okay, you need to consider visa such as this, and I would think that this is a worthwhile consideration. Now, I actually think that the PVIP program is far more superior. It's expensive, but it comes with a lot of flexibility, right? And I don't know how to say this, but sometimes you don't want to apply for visa and give you a hell of restrictions. You cannot work, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, right? And I just found out from my company that to apply for a work visa, not only you have to pay the salary, pay CPF equivalent in Malaysia called EPF, but the agent will charge a fee of about 18,000 ringgit or so, right? So there's all these complications as well, right? So I would say that the PVIP program is far more superior, and if you want to find out more about it, I'm not selling this program. I happen to know people that are very interested that runs this program. That they have been introducing to me. I can share with you. I'm really seriously considering this right now. And given that my house is coming, and there is this option available for me. Okay, so anyway, so these are options that are open for you. You cannot just buy a house and assume that you can stay there. Okay, you cannot just move into Malaysia and just escape Singapore cost of living and so on, right? You need a visa, and these are two options that you have to consider. Okay, so if you find this useful, please give me a like and hit subscribe, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay, all right, see you. Bye bye.